Hi, I'm Pat Baer, and this is Pat Baer's Anime Club. It's an ongoing video series where every other week I take a look at something from the wide, wonderful world of anime that I want to chat with you about. These are video essays, but I don't necessarily write every single word down. I'm not reading a teleprompter. I'm kind of going off the cuff. I know what I want to talk about. I've done my research on it, but it's a little looser. You're not going to see video clips up here in the corner. You're going to see slides from a hastily put together Google slideshow. And let's get into that. Actually, let's see the first slide so you can find out what we're talking about today if you didn't read the subject of the video. 7 spring 2024 shows in their third season. That's right. I kind of just want to talk about that and how weird that is. Let alone the idea. Let's go beyond the fact that idea of so many shows at all ever getting a third season. That's wild. A lot of times shows have a season. Maybe they have a second season. Sometimes it takes like 10 years before they get a second season. You might even say that it's more likely the show is going to get rebooted than get another season of content out because theoretically a show is going to be existing to sell the manga or the light novels. And if those have ended, it's not likely that you're going to see those shows continue on as an anime unless they are uber popular. I mean, there's some shows that are on for 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 seasons. But most anime comes and goes. So the fact that right now in the spring 2020 season that we're currently in at the time of this recording, that there are 7 shows, that's wild. So I kind of wanted to just talk about them. Reasons why I think they're in their third season, or my maybe confusion as to why this is so popular, or I guess I'll even tell you if I'm watching them, because a couple of these I am watching. So let's get into it. Let's get into it right now here. Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. An isekai in its third season. We will talk about another isekai later that's also in its third season. But that's not necessarily a thing that happens all that often. Yes, I can name them. I can name Overlord. I can name That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Konosuba. Are there more? Maybe there are. Did Log Horizon get a third season? I feel like it did. So yeah, there are examples of isekai that do have a third season. There'll be ReZero will happen. That'll happen. It's not the most common thing though when it comes to isekai. Isekai usually 1 season, maybe 2. And then you got to go read the manga and then read the light novel because the manga ended, or the light novel is so far past the manga and the anime actually went past the manga anyway. Also, it's a comedy. I should say that a comedy having 3 seasons is also not necessarily a done deal. And even though it's not my cup of tea, I did watch Megumin's side series, the prequel, and I thought that was pretty fun because she's my favorite character of the show. It is not for me, but I totally understand why people will be into it. I totally understand why it's there for a third season. And then I'm going to just jump right into Laid Back Camp. Another show that makes sense to me that there is a third season of it, even if I'm not loving it. I certainly like Laid Back Camp Season 3 more than I like Konosuba because I'm watching it and I'm not watching Konosuba. But yet, the fact that we're third season in, there was already a movie. This show is just going and going. Now, let's step back from the fact that Season 3 is not great. The content is still fun. The stories that we're telling are still enjoyable, but the animation is not great. It's a different studio, and it really shows. It feels like it doesn't have the budget of the previous seasons. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving the art style. I'm not loving the animation style. It's a big bummer. It is one of my biggest disappointments of the year so far. And it's a shame. But I can say that it's still Laid Back Camp. I mean, it's one of those things where I guess, I would listen to the dub, and not look at the screen as much. again, this has been moving pretty quickly, and it is awesome to see. I think it is totally awesome to see more from Layback Camp. I just wish it was better. But we'll always have the other two seasons, the movie and the mini episodes season. So I can't be too stressed about it, even though I wish it was better. I do wish it was better. I don't have a lot to say about our third season 3 show, Sound Euphorium. I just, it never hit me. This is the one that I am second to most surprised that we are getting another season of. I'll talk about the one that I'm like, wow, this is unbelievably surprising. This one I'm just like, music shows do well. That is a subgenre that I am not super into. I have liked some shows in the music category, but not all of them. But I do think this show is just like relatable. Even if it's not relatable to me, I think it is relatable to its core audience. And so there being a third season does make sense to me. But shows with music, like, I guess they're not as expensive as I would assume because of some level of rotoscoping necessary, and also having to get original music made for the show, and consistent, and also original music that sometimes is performed badly to show growth. Like, that's feels too expensive to me. I don't know. I have some friends that are really into the show. I'm glad they got more of it. But it was a bit of a surprise. My favorite of the third season shows right now is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, season 3. Shit is just kicking off in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, season 3. So if you thought that the beginning of this season was a little too slow, things are popping off. Fights are happening. In fact, this image feels very much like this is where we're at. This is where things are going with the show. So you're getting it. Don't worry about it. It's coming. It's heating up. And also, it was chill. The beginning of it was pretty chill. If you missed the chillness, because the end of season 2 was pretty edgelordy, getting more edgelordy than it's ever been before, the beginning of this season was really quite chill and cool. So you get the best of both worlds. We're still behind the manga, but we're getting caught up. By the end of the season, we might have caught up with the manga. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. Because, well, it'll probably be a while before we get another season. Anyway, this show also has had 2 movies and a side series, Slime Diaries, which if you haven't seen Slime Diaries, please check it out. It's so cute and fun. Also, there are OVAs. The first 2 OVAs are not canon. The other shows are world building from the manga canon. So the other OVAs 3, 4, and 5, which are out there, you should watch. I guess you should if you're watching this show. I think the music is, the opening theme is a little like, and it's not as good as season 2, but it's still a quality show. And as I said, things are heating up. And in fact, I got to check out the latest episode from this weekend. I got to see it because I want to keep caught up with That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, season 3, which again is my favorite of them. As far as it being a third season, first season did so well. Second season did just as well, both on streaming numbers and in Japan. Rimuru is still a very popular character. Japan's video game and anime fans love their slimes, and he's a very good slime. So I'm not surprised at all. I am surprised about the Duke. Oh, what happened here? There we go. Sorry about that. The Duke of Death and is made. That's in its third season. I feel like this show came out like in 2020. It's probably 2018 or something. Let me look up. I'm sorry, I didn't do this part of the research, but I just realized I don't know. Duke of Death and his maid. When did this come out? When did you come out? All right. Let's see. Serialized online from 2017 to May 2022. So it's done, apparently. Let's see. 2021. Wow. Okay. That's wild. So the anime started in 2021. It's in its third season. That's surprising to me. Because I didn't think the first season was that good. I stopped watching about halfway through. I'm probably wrong about this. It's probably excellent. But even if it is incredible, the fact that it's done being serialized and they're still putting out the seasons means that it's way more popular than I could imagine, right? Anime doesn't get made because somebody is willing it into existence by sheer force of will, right? Like sometimes there are shows like occasionally there are shows that like have crowdfunding to like finish a season or something like that, or like a very rare cases there are like a satellite station, like a literal station on a satellite, like a paid premium station that is paying for an anime to exist out of like nowhere, and that's why you have so many seasons of God, what was I about to say? Like it's Tenchi Muyo. I don't know why Tenchi Muyo wasn't mad, but now I think about it, I guess that's an episode I'm gonna do. Like Tenchi Muyo, like not Tenchi in Tokyo or Tenchi Universe, but Tenchi Muyo, the OVAs. I think I maybe should do a deep dive on that because it is an interesting and fascinating story that like it has had several seasons over 20, 30 years, something like that, simply because there's a satellite channel, like a paid channel, like an HBO style channel that just wants content. Like that's wild because there are like so many Tenchi movie seasons and then offshoots that ended up on TV and then also offshoots that just ended up on that. And I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Anyway, the Duke of Death and his maid just keeps getting made, and they keep making seasons, and it's surprising to me. I am less surprised about, I have to click on here. I know I have to click this time. The Irregular at Magic High School. Yeah, the Irregular at Magic High School, I'm like not surprised at all that this show continues to exist. There's a movie. There is a companion series from the perspective of the main girl in the show. The manga went out of its way to finally be like, actually, this thing, the thing that happens in this show, the thing that is in this show that makes it so it is hard for you to recommend this show to other people, don't worry about it. Because it's an overpowered main character in a fantasy setting that is not an isekai. It's just a magic and technology, us in the future kind of a thing, with a character that is just a badass, but he is a badass to protect his sister and her way of life. And then, of course, a core group of friends that he meets along the way. And that sister, there's weirdness that I'm not getting into in this goddamn video, but it exists out there. And then they tried to retcon it. And then I bet they're going to retcon the retcon. You know what I mean? Like, actually, that was a lie. Like, maybe, who knows? Who knows if they're going to? But anyway, the uniforms, the school uniforms are top notch. Very cool. But it's wish fulfillment anime, and you can watch it. It's very digestible. It is a show that is like maybe best enjoyed as clips on YouTube, but I don't know. Like, I'm watching it. I haven't watched every episode. I'm not watching it weekly. I'm just watching it in, batches. And the high action scenes are great, and the comedy is very dumb. And the supporting characters are great. Like, they're well-rounded. There's a couple that aren't in this season that I'm like, no, but I like those people. And there's some new characters that are good and fine. Yeah, it's totally serviceable. I am not shocked that there is a third season because I know there are a lot of people that really like it. But I am surprised that it came out so soon after season 2 and the companion series that basically tells season 1 story from a different perspective with some new added stuff. I'm surprised we got it so soon, but not surprised that we got it. And I will say this part, for our last of 7, and again, I'm just kind of talking here kind of loosely about these shows and if I'm surprised about that there's more of them or anything like that. Urusei Yatsura's in season 3. This is the only third season show that is on High Dive. Everything else was on Crunchyroll. And yeah, the remake of Urusei Yatsura is in its third season. Like, that's not unheard of that the reboot gets to keep going like this. You know, like Fruits Basket. It's not too long ago that we had all of Fruits Basket. So the idea that there's a third season of Urusei Yatsura isn't like the most surprising thing, but I feel like I am very particular in my opinions on things and what I like, and I try to be broad, and I try to check out the things that people are most excited about. It feels like this show is flying under the radar with a lot of the people that I look at for differing opinions than mine, but also it's flying under the radar with people who like a lot of the same things that I like. And if I didn't give a show a chance and they love it, I'd be like, oh, I probably like that. It feels like the Western audience that I engage with, the Western fandom, I guess you could say, is completely sleeping on Urusei Yatsura. Other than like when it first came out, people were like, oh, this is good. And maybe that's all they needed to say. Oh, this is a good reboot of this. Because I'm somewhat of the opinion, I have been, I continue to be, that I don't need a reboot unless the anime screwed up big time. Like, I have heard that the Spice and Wolf reboot is very good. That anime was great. I don't need to see it again. When they brought back Orphan, Sorcerer's Stab at Orphan, I was like, Orphan was fine. What are we doing? Now, if they wanted to remake Flame of Recca, I'd be on board, because they really, one, Flame of Recca does not age well visually. It does not look good because it was cheap at the time. And two, the end of what they did there, they just had to come up with an ending, and it's not good. If they did like a full run of Flame of Recca, I'd be on board. In the same way that when they brought back Hunter x Hunter and they were going to keep going with it, I was like, yeah, some of the changes in the 99 I didn't agree with, and they made a couple changes in 2011 that I didn't love, but like, we got more of it. I personally, your friend Pat, was not clamoring for a Urusei Yatsura remake, and so this one falls a little flat with me, but I know that people love it. So I'm glad for those people they get the thing. And I can say that, right? I can be a hater. I'm not a hater for people that are finally getting the thing they really wanted, which is the full experience. Because it looks like they're going to be making a lot of episodes, and that rules. And that's really it. 7 spring 2024 shows in their third season. I don't have like a major point. I'm somewhat encouraged by this, right? Like, the more you put out those shows, the more likely it is that people might go back and check out the previous ones. And that's awesome. You can't just constantly be putting out shows and only one season and that's the end, because then people don't get invested because they think, well, I'm only going to get these 12 and then maybe the manga will be released, or maybe like there's a couple shows right now that are out where there's plenty of manga for it. No one's even fan subbing the manga because they really want that. Like, no one's doing a scanlation of a couple shows that are out this season because they aren't even hitting that hard as an anime. It's just like, But if a thing really pops off, it's great to know that you can maybe get more of it. So if you like Laid Back Camp or Sound Euphorium or Konosuba or That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime or The Duke of Death and His Maid, The Regular at Magic School, Urusei Yatsura, like, you're eating well. If any of those series are top series for you, like Slime is for me, and Laid Back Camp is in theory, but not in practice, you're eating well. I'm not eating super well with Laid Back Camp. I'm going to let that go. I think my next video is not going to be explaining why there's so much goddamn Tenchi Muyo. I'm going to say that right now. My next episode will not be about that. I will be doing one of those, I think, but it won't be that. We are not near the end of the spring season yet. Sometime next month, I will be doing a video that will be the wrap up for spring and the summer preview, because that will be coming next month towards the end. I've got a few more video ideas ready to go. I know what I'm going to be doing next month. which is, I said, I don't have to be a hater. I am going to be a hater. I'm going to talk about shit that pisses me off. It's been a while since I did a hate-fueled Pat Baer's Anime Club, but I was reminded of the ending of an anime, and it really made me mad. And I want to talk about bad, weird, terrible endings to anime. So we're going to do that probably in 2 weeks time, 2 weeks after this goes up. I think that's going to be the next video. But if you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see me do, deep dives or explanations, if you just want to know about a thing, or like maybe there's a show that you would just like me to do, like, hey, do a review of this show. Like, you could do that. You can make that happen. You can make a request in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Are you watching any of these shows that are in their 3rd season? Did this video make you think, I should probably like get caught up on that show? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you about that. And thank you very much for watching this video till its end. I'm going to look and see, yeah, 20-minute video. Hell yeah. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Goodbye.